jump over to Facebook, give it a look. And we have our... Ooh, there it is.
Hello, Facebook and YouTube.
749. Share. What are you using to make these little weekly graphics?
Canva.
Okay.
I'll show it to you later if you want.
I've seen Canva before. I just haven't seen some of these styles you've been
This was one. This was a podcast themed one, and it
picking. Oh,
had
really?
and it had a podcast. Yeah, I just searched for podcast, and it had a person on there. I deleted the person and moved the text over and just used that basically. So,
Did you pay for Canva, or are you using the free account?
I paid for it for a year.
What'd that run?
I'm not.
No, you know,
Let's see.
to
I'm trying to remember.
Google Canva pricing.
But I was making all these thumbnails for Topicus Trek and everything. Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
All righty.
Yeah.
Let's begin. We got a podcast to do.
All right.
There we go. Make sure we have everything in there. Yep. Title, date, August 7th is when the show's going out. Here we go. In 3. Let's get the secondary recorder going too. Technorama episode 749, The Nerdvana Chronicles. Hey, hello, and welcome to Technorama. This is the show that takes a lighthearted look at tech, science, sci-fi, and all things geek. If this is your first time joining us, welcome to the show. If you are returning, welcome back. We appreciate you giving us your time. My name is Chuck Tomasi from sunny Phoenix, Arizona, and right over there in the dark is Craig. Craig is in the dark again.
I'm in the moonlit area of North Carolina, so enjoying the nice weather. Actually, I'm trying to record outside. I'm just on a whim because I don't have a good place to record at the moment because we're in the...
I thought you were on a bench. You're on a whim?
Yeah, I'm on a whim.
Oh. Is it a cushioned whim?
It is a cushioned whim.
Don't get a splinter in your whim sitter.
No, no. So if you hear bugs and stuff, that's what it is.
Hey, this show is full of bugs. I'm all for it.
Yeah, we're going to weed them out.
All right. How's your week? You all moved in now?
Yeah, week's been pretty good. For those that don't know, I've been moving for the last month, and really on the weekends. Basically.
And boy, are my arms tired.
You got that right. I'm still... my traps were a little sore until today. Actually, I'm feeling pretty good now.
Awesome.
So, yeah, doing good.
Getting settled in. Good. Mm-hmm. I've been having fun also as I march ever closer towards retirement.
Well, that, and you're batching it, aren't you?
I'm batching it. I am a single parent now as well. No, I am a no parent. Donna is in Michigan visiting our one daughter and doing her class reunion. I sent Lisa off to Lithuania to be with her husband, who's been over there for a couple of weeks. She's meeting the in-laws for the first time. And I am here alone with only cats to look after. So I have 2 alarms, one in the morning to tell me when to take my meds and one in the evening. And they also tell me to go feed the cats at her place.
Right. Yeah, there's nobody to remind you other than your phone. That's pretty...
I watch.
Pretty lonely. Actually, before, when we had emptied the house, and I was waiting. I had to stay there for coordination, really, but for some people that were coming by the next couple of days. Kim was up here. I was here by myself, and it was like, wow, not only does it feel quiet in the house, there's like nothing in the house but the couch, and that was it. You know, it was super empty. So
you get that echo off the walls that you normally wouldn't hear.
I just yell just to make sure I'm still alive, and I hear an echo. It's kind of sad.
I remember when we recarpeted this, the studio, well, actually most of the house last 3 years ago. It was late 2021. And I had torn down the old studio desk and moved everything out. The only thing left in the room was basically the internet router, and it was taped to the wall so they could redo the carpet.
Right. Taped to the wall.
Yeah. It was, I had some joke about that. I don't remember what it was. And the room was so echoey because there was no carpet, nothing on the walls. It just like, that's not how I want my studio. So
No.
got it back in shape.
So that was funny. I went from no family or family around to no family, and the house was literally, it was like somebody robbed me of everything, of everything.
Well, I hope somebody comes up and buys your house soon so you can get that cash in the bank.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Okay, shall we begin? Let's start with our feedback. I don't know what answers we got, but let's find out.
Letters. Oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day.
We got lots of answers.
Mailman, mailman, mail today. Reach right in and pull one out. Those letters. I love those letters. Let's find out what you got to say.
Oh, boy.
Mailman. Mail today.
Mail today.
Our question of the week. Last time was almost a month ago, so bear with us.
Yeah.
If you could fund research to solve one major scientific problem, what would it be and why? Steve Lennon says, having just read Hail Mary by Andy Weir, so space travel and cryosleep sounds fun. Why Seymour? Oh, I have to click the Seymour.
Yeah, why Seymour?
Because I can. But on the darker tone, the overall population or the overpopulation and overconsumption of Earth's resources. Now that's something to ponder over. There are some easy fixes to this, but they will not be popular. Anyhow, the Earth will survive the human race. I'm sure of it. Why? Because we need to.
Wait, some easy fixes to this. Is he talking like in the Thanos?
Yes, I was thinking Thanos. That's an easy fix. It's a noble effort. Oh, we got some replies to that. Hold on. Fritz says, bump it. And then Steve comes out. He says, Hail Mary is on my reading list, but I still take some time until I can start reading. Whoa, he's got a picture with stacks and stacks of books.
Yeah, he does. Wow.
You want to take another one?
Yeah. Sorry, let me stop looking at the picture. Our buddy Clinton Alvord says, scientific? I guess I would have to be, is there life on other worlds? It's a question I pondered my whole life, and I'd really, really like an answer. But there are some social and medical wishes, but that would be one of my, that would be my one for science. There you go.
Our friend Brian says, rendering radioactive materials inert, making nuclear power the future. Wait, that seems like an oxymoron. If you render the radioactive materials inert, what are you powering your nuclear reactors from?
I think he's talking about the waste.
I would say so. That would make more sense.
I think he's mentioning the waste there.
Okay. You want another one?
Yeah, Jack Megan says microwave burritos.
My sister says, where did I put one sock? Where did that one sock go that I put in the dryer? I put two in the dryer, one comes out. I want scientific research on that.
Yeah. Let's say Mike Robinson says, how to slow or reduce deterioration of the body due to aging. Not necessarily to stop aging, but to keep the human body more functional as it ages. Reduce the physical wear and tear on joints and muscles, enabling the old farts, as in you and me, Chuck.
Yeah.
To finally take that hike to the big national park or skinny dip in that certain mining spring. Mineral spring, excuse me. And they can blow the kids' inheritance on crazy parties, questionable hobbies, instead of medical bills. I second that, by the way.
That's why we have insurance. Steve replied to that one saying, Mike, like having a fully functioning body and mind until it's your time to go. And then like a switch, it's over. As in the movie from 2011, In Time with Justin Timberlake.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a weird camel case thing. When your time is up.
Oh, Lone Guy's Night said warp drive.
That's good. Mike Robinson also said, finding exactly how many scouts are in each box of Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah, right.
If olive oil comes from olives, where does baby oil come from?
Ooh, I don't want to know.
Any more?
Yeah, you had some on your share.
And we got another long one from Fritz. Send some probes towards the core of the Earth to collect data. There is already a first crude idea how to achieve this. create a crack in the mantle of the earth using a nuclear device. 2, fill the crack with 100,000 tons of liquid iron, or 1/13,000th of the yearly global production. Price tag, $12.5 million. 3, embed a grapefruit-sized probe into the iron. 4, the iron will sink downwards towards the core. Eventually, 5, the probe will send data back, creating seismic signals. The feasibility in real life remains to be studied. Money quote, I have quite low confidence that it will work. However, my motivation in writing this paper is to get people to think about the ideas like this. David Stevenson of the California Institute of Technology.
You know, the core of the earth is one thing I don't want people screwing with.
No.
I mean, no matter scientific or not, I'm like, just leave it alone. Why do we need to screw with it?
Lone Guys Night also responded on mine. How to get cows to and raised on Mars. If they can breathe CO2.
I think DNA. We just send the DNA there.
Weber Baker said, replied back to that. He said, well, first they'd have to jump over the moon to get there. Oh, well played. Well played.
Oh, gosh. Wah, wah. Okay, let's send it there. He won.
My sister also said scientific research into why there are no wines that pair with Doritos.
Actually, I disagree. I think every wine goes with Doritos.
Or Doritos pair with.
Yeah. Once you get to the first glass, it doesn't matter what you're eating.
You take that sip and you get the oil slick from your lips that kind of leaches into the wine. You ever do that? You take a drink, you're like, whoa, this oil slick forms on the surface of whatever you're drinking.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that before. I've seen others have that problem before.
Several others that we're gonna glance right over. They were short or replies to other replies, so not gonna go down that thread too deeply. That takes care of it for the question of the week. We'll be back with another question at the end of the show. Stick around. Gotta find the right faders.
Hey.
There they are. I moved things around on new laptop, new configuration, and I can't find the faders on the mixer. On this day in history for August 7th, 2024, this is the 220th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. There are only 146 days remaining in the year. It was on this date in 1679 that the brigantine La Griffin becomes the first ship to sail the upper... What? Why did I just get the big Technorama question of the week logo on the screen? Sail on the upper Great Lakes of North America.
All right, and also on this day in 1909, Alice Wheeler Ramsey, and 3 friends became the first women to complete a transcontinental auto trip, taking 59 days to travel from New York to San Francisco, California.
1909 took them 59 days. That's a heck of a
I'm surprised they found enough gas stations back then.
And Stuckies. It was August 7th, 1944. IBM dedicated the first program-controlled calculator, the Automatic Sequence-Controlled Calculator, known best as the Harvard Mark I. Nice.
It was also on this date in 1947 that Thor Heyerdahl's balsa wood raft, the Kon-Tiki, smashed into the reef of Roya in Tuamotu Island.
Good luck.
Tuamotu Islands. After 101 days, 7,000 kilometers journey across the Pacific Ocean in an attempt to prove that the prehistoric peoples could have traveled from South America.
Crashes into the reef. We're there.
Yeah. Everybody off.
It's going to sink. He also had Kon-Tiki 2. He was the guy who did Ra and Ra 2. Thor Heyerdahl was kind of a really interesting guy. If you ever had a chance to read up on him. It was on this date in 1959 that Explorer 6 launched from the Atlantic Missile Range in Cape Canaveral, Florida.
And that same date in 1974, Philippe Petit performed a high wire act between the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center 1,368 feet in the air.
If you ever have a chance to watch the videos on that, that was fun. He snuck up there and he got caught and he wouldn't come off the wire. The people were waiting for him. He's like, He laid down on the wire and pretended to take a nap. He stretched this thing on forever. It was great.
I think I watched a little bit of that, and I remember I had a little anxiety watching him step out there.
Viking 2 entered orbit around Mars on this date in 1976.
And also on this date in 1978, U.S. President Jimmy Carter declared a federal emergency at Love Canal due to the toxic waste that had been disposed of negligently.
Negligently.
I know.
That's how that. Oh, Love Canal. A name that will go down in history.
Yeah.
Where were we? It was on this date in 1987 that Lynn Cox became the first person to swim from the United States to the Soviet Union, crossing the Bering Strait from the Little Diomede Island in Alaska to Big Diomede Island in the Soviet Union.
All right. And also today in 1997, the Space Shuttle Discovery launched on STS-85 from Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida.
Lady swims to the Soviet Union, and the first thing they ask is for a passport.
Yeah.
Oh, I have it here somewhere. Happy birthday goes out of this date to English explorer and cartographer Robert Dudley, born in this date in 1574.
And German geographer and academic Carl Ritter was born 245 years ago today.
Wow. Mary Frances Winston, American mathematician, was born on the same date in 1869.
And Kenyan English paleontologist and archaeologist Louis Leakey was born 121 years ago today.
Louis Leakey, I think he was the son of... No, he was the father of Richard Leakey. I might have him backwards. But yeah, they did all the chimpanzee research.
They're a bunch of leaks.
American puppeteer, voice actor, and singer Stan Freberg was born in the state in 1926.
Yeah.
There you go. That one was for Grant.
Yes, right. And James Randi, Canadian-American stage magician and author, was born on that same date in 1928. I actually met him at DragonCon.
Amazing, Randy.
That's
also turning 46 today. Jake Sisko. Cirroc Lofton.
That's right.
Yeah. Listener birthdays this week include, we're going to do a couple of weeks since we were off. August 4th, Clark and Diana. Awesome people and the kids of Gary from Jacksonville.
Right.
August 6th, 2 birthdays. Fritz the German and my daughter Julie. Philippa Valentine on the 8th. Matt Coe and Julia Pose on the 9th. August 10th, Sam Martin. August 11th, Steve Wozniak and David Brewer. August 13th, Christine Fiore. Christine Fiore. And
that
Clive Jevons from Boemenheim, German. Kevin, Susie the Geek's son in training. I think there were 2 of them on the same line, but that's on the 17th. Not sure what happened there. That's the way it was on this date for August 7th, 2024. And we are out. If you want to be on the birthday calendar, Craig, you got the banner ready? Shoot it to them. Go to chuckchat.com/birthday. And you can get your name on there. We had a couple more that were added. We will give them a shout out at the appropriate time of year. If it's your birthday and you're not on the calendar, please have a happy birthday. Woohoo! Right on time.
Yeah, look at that.
All right. Then we pick another random one for news.
Good news, everyone. What?
Oh, man. The chat on our Facebook group for the parade. The sound bites here are reminding me of that. Like the chat is really getting going because the DragonCon parade is coming up.
Yep. With DragonCon period.
DragonCon. Yep. That's coming up. What's not coming up is when the astronauts are coming home from the Starliner after 2 months.
They may not be here for DragonCon.
That would be really cool if they were. Can you imagine? I left my laundry in the dryer. I was only supposed to be up here a couple of days.
Yeah. I left my dog at home. Nobody is feeding it.
Well, they did say when they started that it was going to be a 7-day or 8-day minimum mission. So
it turned into a Gilligan's Island expedition.
A 3-hour tour. Only they're not lost in space. There's nobody.
No.
And trying to make a radio out of coconuts.
Right.
Well, that story sounds vaguely familiar.
I know.
Don't
Yes, it
spoil.
does.
Don't spoil.
No,
No
no, no.
spoil.
I must say nothing. No, I say
Okay.
nothing.
Well, yeah, they went up. It's been 2 months as of the article. They went up on June 6th. They were supposed to go up for a little while. But Boeing had some issues and they're trying to find out the root cause of the rocket so they can bring them back safely. If they can't, well, they're going to have to find alternative methods like SpaceX or something of that nature. So
Yeah, I was
that
gonna
would
say,
be
why don't they
another
just send the Dragon capsule up?
black spot for Boeing that they just don't need.
Yeah, they're and you know what's bad is this Boeing Stowliner was already excuse me, was already stuck in a was behind schedule. Excuse me. So they were behind schedule delivering it, much less now it's not even working properly. And wasn't this capsule supposed to be what they send up in Artemis?
I don't recall if on that one.
So NASA said they were already looking at delaying that because of the capsule. So
Hmm.
Artemis is the project where they return to the moon.
I want to show you something from our next. Hang on, they just slapped up an ad on the screen from our next story.
Okay.
It's just this beautiful picture and. All right, so screen share. There we go.
Oh, look at there.
Yeah, it's not modern art. What you're looking at is some underwater, the ocean floor contours. Some
I
formations
thought it was
down there.
I thought it was Pink Floyd's next album cover.
Could be. Could be. Look at the colors, man. No, these are underneath the what was the name of the ice shelf? One of the ice shelves in Antarctica.
hmm
And they said, wait a minute. We thought it was supposed to be smooth under there because the ice shelf is basically the extension of a glacier that goes out into the ocean. So it's just this big peninsula of ice with nothing under it. So how do you get these? What's forming them? And why are they curved and not straight? So I immediately thought this could happen from possibly currents. Like if you've got underneath the glacier, when it's still on land, there's water flowing underneath the glacier and it's exiting like a river out into the ocean, that this is the outflow, the what do they call it? The abyssal plain, not abyssal plains, but the effluvial. There's a word for it. I can't remember
Okay.
from my geography class, but it's basically where all the silt goes out into the ocean.
Right.
And I thought maybe there's some slow moving current that's forming in this direction. I was close. Their current idea is, and these things are like 1,300. Was it 1,300 meters? 1,300 miles? 1,300 feet long. So they're fairly substantial structures. And they said it's more than likely that it's material that's flowing out and it's being curved by the Coriolis effect. Wow, that's pretty amazing. You know, the Coriolis effect that makes like hurricanes spin and whatnot.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was fascinating. It's another lesson in there's so much stuff we still don't know. The Dotson ice shelf, that's what it was.
Yeah. There's so much stuff we don't know just in our own backyard, so to speak.
Yep. And the beautiful pictures on this article over at Interesting Engineering. If you go over to episode 749 over at tuckchat.com/technorama, something like that.
Yep.
And if you are like us and you love your space info, well, it's probably no surprise that August is the month of the Perseid meteor shower, which is coming to maximum August 11th and 12th, the morning of, I think it's Monday, August 12th, right before sunrise, in the hours before sunrise, like 1 a.m., whatever your local time is. I was
1 a.m.
surprised in reading this article. They said, if you go out in the way out, you know, get some nice dark skies, you could see up to 75 events every minute. So
You know what? I think
you might have some
this
good
ha-
viewing out there if the sky is clear.
now this happens annually, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I think about a year or two ago, we've had this house for 4 years.
Mhm.
I think about a year or two ago, I think it's about 2 years ago, I had gotten up early. It was probably around just after 5, and I was walking the dogs, and we walked up. I've taken you up there. We walked up the road, and there's a circle up there. Kind of come back down, and I remember and being in the middle of the street, and there's an opening because there's no trees.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, look!" I noticed a satellite going by, and then I saw a meteor. I went, "Oh, that's cool." And I saw another meteor. Then I saw several more. I There's no traffic there. I literally laid down in the street and watched the sky because it was so awesome to see. I came down, ended up having coffee on my deck, and watching it for another 20 minutes before the sun really started coming up. And just, I bet I saw 30 or 40 of them. It was fantastic.
That's pretty cool.
So I'm gonna try and put this on my calendar and remind myself to get up and go check it out.
The thing that stood out in this article for me that I didn't realize is it's not just like Sunday, Monday, there they are. These are caused by a comet coming through our solar system and the Earth crossing the path of the trail. So they leave a big trail of debris when they go by. And who knows how long ago, whatever it was, left this trail, but we've gone through it a few times. You'd think eventually we'd sweep it up, but it must be slightly moving, so we get a fresh batch of
Well, I was thinking the same thing.
But
I mean, it's been happening for a long time. So how you think after a while you kind of clean it up?
That's why I think it might be being carried by some momentum, so it's slowly moving, and you just get fresh junk every year. The thing I didn't realize is it goes from July 14th to September 1st. We're in the middle of it right now, which makes sense. We're literally in the middle of that trail.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it threw me for how wide that comet trail is, and just how much stuff we just keep picking up. Wow,
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. So, yep, lots to learn. All right, that takes care of the news. We are going to give a quick shout out to the chat room. We don't have anybody in the chat room.
There's nobody in there.
Someone left a like and ran, or maybe they liked us on Facebook and
A drive-by like.
It's an off night. We are doing this on a Tuesday night. We normally do this Sundays at 8:30 Eastern time. So if you are around, you'd like to join us, put it on your calendar. Sundays, 8:30, Technorama on YouTube and Facebook. We'd love to see you there. Or if you subscribe to our channel, of course, you get the alerts in the middle of the night. Put on your Do Not Disturb.
Middle of the night.
Sorry. Well, it's middle of the night for Steve London.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
All righty. Look forward to seeing you there. You can join us in our live chat. We have a Remember When piece. Can we play that?
Yeah, we can play that.
All right. This is a video that I also watched from YouTube. Although I'd say the headline is a bit misleading. I'm just gonna go with that. It says this is an ancient iPhone, or your iPhone evolved from this. They're talking about the TRS-80 pocket computer.
Yes.
Which, if I remember right, was a rebranded Sharp. And there were
several
generations of these.
I've had the Sharp EL5500, which is a little bit newer than this one. But if you look at the design, it's pretty much the same. The one I had a larger LCD display, so you could see about 2 or 3, maybe 4 lines of text. But it was basically looked like this. The cover would slide off, and you'd flip it, and you could slide it on the bottom, which is what we got here.
You could do programming one line at a time. It had BASIC. Wasn't really a very compatible BASIC, but and if I remember right, the peripherals or the connectors or something weren't compatible with each other. So the first generation wasn't compatible with the second generation. So it sort of really killed itself. But it was very, very cool for being one of the first pocket computers. If I remember right, it was about 8 inches long and maybe 3 inches wide.
It was like a big Hershey's bar, candy bar. Like
very
one of
Hershey's bar. It's not much larger than today's larger phones.
Right. I think that's what they were trying to say was really the design could have been an early phone, but it's not really.
It didn't have it. I didn't hit that button twice. Maybe when I set this up, I got
A loop.
tells it not loop. Yeah. Something's looping. So
Yeah.
someone here's a little loopy.
But I'll tell you that Sharp computer was awesome. I had a friend. I did not do this. But I can tell you now because he's no longer with us. So he would actually write a basic program in there. So when he took a test, he would have the calculator sitting on his desk,
Mhm.
and it looks unassuming. I mean, well, it looks like this, kind of sitting there
Yeah.
on his desk. As he's taking the test, the teacher would walk by, no problem. But in the room, he would make a basic program with a bunch of remarks, and the remark statements had the answers to his test.
Okay, that's not good.
So he could scroll through them.
And I had that calculator that played blackjack. So when I wasn't doing math, I was practicing my gambling skills.
Right.
There was I don't know if I shared this story or not. If I did, it was years ago when I had the work slate for working at Computerland. The work slate was like an early tablet machine.
Could have
And
been your first iPad.
it was spreadsheet based.
Mhm.
And we were going through this kind of recursive algorithm in, I forgot what class it was, not combinatorics, because I didn't have that, linear algebra or something, one of these higher college math courses. And we came up with this thing, and I said, well, that's basically like a tree structure. Picture your brackets in the playoffs, right? Take half of one of the right half or the left half of the brackets, and you go from 16 teams to 8 teams to 4 teams to semifinals and whatnot. That's what this looked like in my head. And I asked the instructor, I said, "Hey, Dr. McNeil, could I use this device to help me solve that?" Basically, you plug in the first 16 and it solves the rest for you. He went,
Okay.
"Yeah, it was." I still remember the name of the math problem or the methodology. It was called Runge-Kutta.
Okay.
Well, that's a cool name. So you can use these things. He thought it was a very innovative way of doing it too. It's like, hey, you've got this technology. Instead of doing this on paper, where you're solving for these brackets upon brackets upon brackets, I'm just going to plug them all in. I think because I was using a keyboard, mine took longer because I had to type everything in. Rather, other people were writing them down and solving them as fast as they could go. But once I had them all in, I just went go and went solved. So these are cool. These are cool.
Hey, I misspoke earlier. The Sharp EL5500 only had one line of text, but it was like an LCD screen.
Yeah,
an LCD screen instead of that LED.
That was superimposed. I don't think any of them had LED.
Oh, really?
Batteries like nobody's business. Oh yeah, where the message on the screen that says
Oh,
chill.
maybe it was then.
Yeah,
But yeah, it was like LCD. LCD was popular back in the day.
Oh yeah, and I think it was even backlit too.
I even had a printer. I had a little printer with it. It was it had a thermal printer.
Yep.
So it looked like I could print receipts all day long.
The guy trying to remember the guy on eBay, or the guy who did this video. I might be mixing up my videos that I watched lately, but I think he got it on eBay with the printer too, but he couldn't get the right cables to like load it. You could load off a cassette and he didn't have the cassette and you had to go buy a cable and it was just one thing after another. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the video that I watched about the Apple II clone. Never mind.
Well, even, back then, standards weren't really solid as far as like, especially for small special devices like this. So it was like, oh, let's just make a connector that works. And then if you didn't continue using it, you're screwed until, like, of course, USB and parallel became I'll say it's parallel first, but parallel serial printers and then the USB, for a long time it was just like however you can make it work.
Well, even right now, a lot of power cords still haven't standardized because everything takes. This one's 12 volt, 2 amps. This one's 24 volt, 3 amps. And this one has a barrel connector. This one's got 2 prongs.
You're talking about like the wall warts, or you're talking about power cables?
The power connectors to each device. Yeah, what the wall wart brings to the device.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's thank our patrons. We're at that part of the show. Yep, that's what the music tells me. Our patrons are the people that keep the show going. Thank you very much to Alexis Duran, Amber Elstad, Amy Bowen, Abner Braverman, Ben Vaughn, Brian Brown, Chris Martinez, Chris MC. Thank you so much. Your donations for as little as $1 a show keep us going. You can. Oh, he's got the banner on the screen. I thought that was a leftover birthday banner. Didn't have to say it this time.
No.
It's out of the corner of my eye. I see purple on the bottom of the screen. Dan D. Man Coyer, Dean Jensen, Denise Inglis, Gary Lindros, John Clifford, John Noble, Jorga Schrauen, Crazy Joe, Kyle Nishioka, Leon, Mark Kilfoyle, Brad Miller. We're going to see a lot of these people next week, or in a couple of weeks. Mike Wills, Saturday Morning Media, Stephen Weshy, Steve Cody, Steve Theron, Steve Webb, Steve London, and Tim Cook. Thank you, everybody, for staying on top of that, for continuing to support us. Many of these people have been around for years, almost a decade now. That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Wish we had
Thank
thought of
you
this
very
early.
much.
Yes. Greatly appreciate it. We will be...
Here's to you.
You got postcards. It's that time of year when we send out our postcards. So looking forward to that. All right, let's cut the music. And what's coming up next? Oh, forgot to say, if you want to join these people, get your name read out on the show and a postcard. And depending on what your donation level, maybe a t-shirt, a bonus episode. Wow, it sounded like a pretty sweet deal now.
Look, we work for you.
Right. And when we don't work, you don't pay.
That's right.
I was a pretty cheap month.
We gave you the summer off.
All right. Nothing in the media corner, but what we do have is our reviews of shows and whatnot that we've been watching.
Yeah.
Start with the obvious, Captain Obvious.
What, the Deadpool and Wolverine?
Yeah. The dead Wolverine in the pool.
So I'll tell you, when I mentioned I was at my house the other night by myself, and it was empty and everything. I thought, I got to get out. It's my first time I had a break in a few weeks because of the move. And I was like, I'm going to go see Deadpool and Wolverine. I didn't get to see it while Harrison was here with him. So I was like, I'm just going to go. So I went, and if you enjoyed the first two Deadpools, you're going to enjoy this one even more. I loved it. I loved everything about it. It was, the story was a little thin. It didn't have as much heart as the first two movies did, but it was all the humor and everything else that went along with it made it so enjoyable. It didn't matter. It was so much fun. The whole thing. So it did have a decent story. I'm not saying it didn't, but there was so much, little, not just Easter eggs, but inside jokes and all kinds of humor along with the whole thing that filled in the blanks. It just worked. At least it worked for me. So I totally get it. And there were some jokes I got as a comic book reader back in the day. Yeah. I was like, oh, there's a whole montage. I'm not going to spoil anything. It's a whole montage. And as they're going through the montage, I'm like, I think that's a comic book cover. I think that's a comic book cover. And you know what? Every one of them, the little scenes they were doing was a comic book cover.
That must have taken some time. Like a live action or a real life pose of a comic book cover? Or
yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Like there's one scene where this is no spoiler at all, but there's a comic book cover where Wolverine is on an X, almost like you would have a crucifix, but it's on an X in front of Xavier's School for Gifted Children, and he's hanging on it. Well, that is the cover, that.
Okay.
The kind of thing. So anyway, there was everything to love about this movie, and I did. It was a great comic book movie, just loads of fun, and lots of callbacks. If you were fans of the 20th Century Fox, Marvel stuff that they did, that's all referenced here in a million different ways. It's great.
It's the #1 movie this last weekend, so made some money. They got yours.
As a comic book fan, I loved it.
Let's save our #2 till the end because we both have We both have the same thing in the second slot,
All
but
right.
I'm gonna go to my first one, and then we'll come back to that one after you do your number 3, and I'll do my number 3. Make
Okay.
sense?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
All right.
Good.
My first one is a Netflix show, 2 parts called Rebel Moon.
Yes.
Very good. A little violent. It's along the lines of the Chronicles of Riddick. So futuristic dystopian world. It's called Rebel Moon because there's this evil empire, kind of Star Warsy in a way.
Yes.
But there is a moon of farmers that are attempting to resist. The chief protagonist, Admiral Noble, they got this guy nailed. You just love to hate him. Like, kill him already. Just kill him.
Right.
It's really well done. I enjoyed this. The story is good. The acting, the only recognizable actor that I've seen, and forgive me if I didn't recognize somebody from some show that I didn't know, is actually Anthony Hopkins. And he's doing the voice of a robot. So you don't actually see Anthony Hopkins, but
Oh, right. Yeah.
he does a great job. Uh, there are parts that seem to drag out a little long. It is an investment. Both of them, I watched the director's cut of both. The first one is 3.5 hours long. So,
Jeez.
yeah. Yeah. I watched it in like 4 installments. The second one is closer to 3 hours long. So 6.5 hours to get through 2 parts. There is
That's
a
an
part
investment.
coming. They left it open. I looked at what was it? They also had, kind of behind the scenes and making of. There's a couple more videos that I want to watch along about that series. There is a part 3 coming, but they said it probably won't release until, was it late 2025 or early 2026?
Wow.
So,
Okay.
but this
Well,
is definitely worth a watch.
yeah, I knew this has gotten some mixed reviews, and I haven't sat down to watch it myself. But if you think it's great, I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, if like I said, if you're a Riddick fan or what was the other movie? I can't remember what it was, but it's along that lines.
I think
Um,
this I think this came about because Zack Snyder was supposed to do a Star Wars movie, and
this
that
is
got nixed,
yeah,
and
no,
then
this is Zack Snyder.
he kind of took that and did it re-engineered it for his own movie.
Yeah, and you'll pick up, the Star Wars vibe occasionally. Like, oh, okay, they got ships flying around in space. The thing that I didn't understand is the people on this moon are farmers. They're basically growing wheat, and
Moisture, we grow
they're
moisture here.
they're harvesting it with scythes. They're beating it with sticks. They're doing everything like you would do, 500 years ago on Earth. But
Right.
their cart that they're loading all this on is a levitating cart. So clearly they have technology. Why wouldn't you build a freaking combine on this one? But
A
maybe
wheel.
that's part of their culture is to, harvest it by
Yeah.
hand or something. So
We wouldn't use wheels like a filthy Neanderthal. Oh, sorry.
yeah.
That's pretty
All
funny.
right. What's the last one on your list?
All right, so this one is Michael Keaton film, Knox Goes Away. He actually directed it. I can't remember if he wrote it. But what it is he's a hitman, and he goes to the doctor and realizes he gets diagnosed with this. I cannot remember the name of the actual disease that he had, but it causes him to have accelerated dementia. So he's gonna, within a matter of weeks, he's not going to be, with his full capacity. So
Mhm.
he works to really help his son. His son is framed for a murder, kind of thing.
Yikes.
Not framed. I shouldn't say framed. Anyway, his son is in big trouble, and he's trying to help him out before he goes away. So that's it. It was actually a really good film. A little slow at times, but I wouldn't knock it too much because it was actually really good.
Cool.
Oh, I saw it on Max. By the way, I saw it on HBO Max. Oh, I did mention that. Okay, I put it in the show notes.
Yeah. Yep. I got another one from Netflix. This one's 1917. I believe this is a movie in the theaters at one point.
Yes.
True story, or based on a true story about World War I is the setting, obviously from the date 1917, and this guy is charged with a mission to cross the no man's land into enemy territory. So he's crossing from the English, uh, not tunnels, the what were they fighting in? Not tunnels, not channels. What do you? I am drawing a completely mental blank.
Trenches.
Trenches. Thank you.
All right.
Senior moment there. So he's crossing from the
I'm
English
going to check
trenches.
you for dementia.
He has to give a message to his compatriots who are like about to attack. The Germans have fallen back and they thought, we've got him on the run. Let's make one more strike. And he says, you got to get there like by 8 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah.
And everybody's saying, wait till dark. It'll be safer. He says, I don't think we can make it by then.
When was the last marathon you ran?
And he said, you get to take one buddy. Okay. And his buddy doesn't know at first what he signed up for or what he's been drafted to do. But wonderful, wonderful story. Very heartwarming. Very challenging. The stuff that he went through. Obviously, it's probably been embellished or at least made sensationalized for Hollywood. But
well, it's also a one take kind of thing. So when they're going the whole time, you're kind of following their perspective the whole time.
There were a lot of one take shots. Yeah. Very long shots. For example, he had fallen down the stairs in this church or temple to take out a sniper. And when he wakes up, the camera pans up from him on one of the landings on the stairs. Camera goes out the window. And meanwhile, he walked out the building. So you catch back up to him and it just goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
How are they flying a drone at this point?
What? I know. I wondered the same thing. It's actually a really good film. I love it.
Yeah, cinematically, it's amazing.
Yes, it is.
1917 on Netflix. All right, our final one we had on the list, unintentionally, we both watched Ghostbusters Frozen Empire on Netflix. What did you think?
Some parts I really liked it, to be honest with you. I didn't think it was necessary.
It felt like they were introducing the next generation so they could keep the franchise going. There was some crossover. Bill Murray was in there. Ernie Hudson was in there. Annie Potts was in there, but they weren't the main characters of the show.
Right. I mean, there's a lot to like in this movie.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think Ghostbusters was meant to be a franchise.
I agree.
The first one I thought was
reference. They did reference like Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2, much like Axel F did.
Yeah, right. Well, I always thought the first Ghostbusters was great. It's an adult comedy. There's a ghost element to it, and they're all trying to fight the ghost. It was a comedy. Now, Ghostbusters 2, okay, I can almost see them wanting to make a sequel, but they're trying to make a franchise out of it, and I'm like, I think you're thinning it out so much, it's losing its charm.
It's another nail in the coffin of Hollywood just doesn't seem to have a whole lot of originality.
Yeah.
Now, was this made for Netflix or was it in the theaters?
No, it was so totally in the theaters.
Was it? Okay, I must have missed it. Okay.
Now, watching Adam Savage's Tested channel, he went on set and they showed a lot of the practical effects that they did for this. So those kind of things I'm down for. I wanted to love this movie because of the work that they put in behind it. But just doesn't talk to me,
When I did have one scratchy head moment going, what just happened? She gets the idea to coat her proton pack coil with brass, because that's what was captured in originally. So she says, brass, where can we get brass? And they had been playing up the fire pole in the firehouse. So she starts sawing that thing. And later you see it totally intact. What just happened? Do they have multiple fire poles that I don't know about? And I think I did see two, but both of them were intact. I'm like, wait, where did this brass pole get cut? Because she just goes up about head height and starts hacking on the pole.
Oh, yeah. Well, I get the theory that this was a great concept for an adult comedy,
Yeah.
and people loved it so much. Oh, let's do sequels, and it thinned the concept so much. I just don't. I just don't care for it anymore.
It
I don't
was
know.
it was I mean, yeah. It was an okay afternoon watch if you got nothing else to watch. You
Now,
go,
what if they make another one? Will I watch it? Yeah, but I
nostalgia.
don't. Yeah, I mean, the first one's the one for me.
Yep.
That's the one I love.
We got a couple of new YouTube channels for you. One is called
Okay.
City Nerd. This guy's he goes to various cities and kind of gives them an evaluation. Tries to grade them all equally. It caught my attention because it said Phoenix, good, bad, and the ugly. I went, oh, let's watch. And a lot of what he talked about was there's some good spots, there's some ugly spots. He tries to stay on public transport so he can
Okay.
grade that aspect. We've
Yep.
got a light rail system in the downtown area. And he said, yeah, that worked pretty well, but there's a lot of places you can't go. When he checked into his hotel, because the light rail can take you right from the airport into the downtown area. And he went to check into his hotel. He said, the lady at the desk must have asked at least 4 times, do you have a car to park? Because she couldn't fathom the fact that he was in Phoenix without a car because the city is set up for cars. It's not set up for commute for
Yeah, but you got
public.
taxis, right?
He did go around in a headless Waymo or driverless Waymo.
Oh, that's right.
So,
You got those there.
yep. And he did not take an Uber. He did not take the public bus. But it was interesting. And I subscribed to the channel because I want to see what other cities he does. Another channel for you is called Rob Words. If you are keen on etymology, not the study of bugs, and like learning about words, the history,
Yeah.
names of things, he went through and he said, here's why every country in Europe is named the way it is. And some were pretty obvious, some were pretty derogatory, some were like, this is the land of the people who live here.
Right.
What was it? Finland. It's the land of the Finns. That's pretty good naming, if you ask me.
Right.
Just fascinating stuff. He came up with or he showcased this alphabet that was more of a mnemonic or a phonetic, not phonetic, more like what did you say? It wasn't phonetic, but you can think along those lines where each letter made a unique sound, right down to the TH sound had its own letter. And it was really fascinating. It's been around since the 60s. Nobody uses it. I thought, oh man, I might want to try taking notes with this thing. That'd be fun. Just to teach yourself kind of a code, as it were.
Yeah.
And he said, this really made sense, but it's really hard to get an entire culture to change all their money and their signs and prices. Like, all right, I get the idea. But it would
Right.
have made totally more sense. Rob Words is the name of that channel. A lot of fascinating stuff there if you're a fan of language. I sent a link to
That sounds interesting.
Grammar Girl,
Yeah.
Anya Fogarty, and she said, "Yeah, I've heard about this before. I may do an article on it at some point." So just kind of sharing the love. The other one is a video that I saw that I talked about a little bit earlier. The Apple II clone that wasn't the Multitech MPF2. So if you're a fan of old computers like Craig and I were just talking about,
Yeah.
this is the case where the guy couldn't find the right cable. And interesting form factor for his computer. I think he had to resurrect some ROMs as well as the CPU from something else to make this work, but he did get it working. And the biggest downfall was the keyboard. It was terrible, but fun video. If you want to watch that, Geek Library. Okay, we
Yeah.
have 2 questions of the week in here. What
Actually,
is it?
actually, back up. So,
Yeah.
I started thinking. I think the last one, the first one, whoops, was a little bit too much like the question we had last time.
I was going to say a similar thing. Yep.
So ignore that first one and just go
Okay.
for
Question of the week before we go is, what futuristic technology from a movie or TV show do you wish was real right now? And how would it change your life? Something tells me we're going to get transporters again.
or lightsabers.
How would that change your life?
I wouldn't have to worry about screwing up the cans when I try to open it with a can opener. Just
I knew it was going to go to the kitchen. Something told me like, less time chopping vegetables.
That's right.
There. Where is it? There. Now we will cook tomato sauce.
Holodeck. There we go. Eric Miller.
Holodeck. That would be fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go.
Lightsaber baseball would be a little difficult.
Yeah. As I was reading the question from this week, I went, wait. Sounds too similar to the last one. So
I was reading that one too.
Yeah.
Okay, then we are on our way out of here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you to our patrons one more time for joining the club. ChuckChat.com. No, Patreon.com/Technorama Podcast. It's where we'd like to see you there. If you want to get a hold of us, you got a comment, or you just want to say happy birthday to whoever is on the birthday, 707-530-2428 is the number to call. You can also email us, technorama@chuckchat.com. That will go to both me and Craig. I'd love to hear from you. Anything special coming up this week?
Any what?
Anything special coming up this week?
No. I don't
Looking
think
forward
so.
to that too. Looking forward to that.
Oh, Dog Days of Podcasting. Don't forget
Dog
to go
Days
check
of
that out.
Podcasting over at dogdaysofpodcasting.com. All right. Give them a binary high five and we're out of here.
All right. 101.
I am a sous chef from your nightmares. English cucumber be gone.
A sushi chef. Well,
all right, we're going to hightail it out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. Thanks, Eric. We'll talk to you later. Oh, Eric must have... Wow, he left that and ran. He's not even watching anymore.
Drive by.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.